from MMA Fighting Studios, this is Between the Links. And now, your host, Mike Heck.
The iconic voice of Esther Lynn welcomes you to a brand new edition of BTL. Happy Thursday to us all. And what a busy week, what a busy month, what a busy couple of months it has been over here at MMAfighting.com. Multiple events being covered, the travel schedule being all crazy. So with Casey in the Big Apple for the historic boxing event at Madison Square Garden, the trilogy fight with Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, I'm on the production side again. So we're doing a little Q&A. We're doing a little mailbag this week, and joining me to answer your questions and deliver takes only as spicy as this man can give them, from MMAfighting.com, the climber of all climbers. Where is he? There he is. Jed Meshew from the ATL. How are you, sir?
Mike, I'm doing great. I shot a 78 this morning.
Nice.
So got out there super early. Have no idea what's been going on. I did not no idea, but have minimal ideas of what's been happening in the world of MMA. Been off the last 2 days. So, I'm riding high. 78, it's not my lowest career. My lowest round ever is a 77. So like right in that wheelhouse of really good. Happy to talk about whatever we're talking about. I don't know. Are we talking about Tim Kennedy? Are we talking about what else has happened? Ben Askren? I don't know what else is going on right now. So let's shoot.
UFC might go to the White House. I mean, that's at least what the president of the United States wants to do.
You know about that?
Jon Jones is already talking about coming out of retirement. I mean,
That's sure.
it's just a weird time. We got UFC Nashville after a week off. We get Derrick Lewis versus Tallison Teixeira.
We do. And I need to record a no bets board for that. I might do it after this show.
Oh, okay.
I haven't looked at that card at all.
Oh,
So really I've looked at it to know what it is, but I've done no deep dive into this card thus far.
it's
fight card.
It's certainly a card. It's not great. It's not terrible, but it's basically what we've expected from fight night events that are not outside of the United States in 2025. So let's hear from you guys. This is your show. So we're going to answer your questions. We're going to talk about all the news and notes, all the craziness, and let's get into this right now. Super chatters get to the front of the line, of course. So let's get into this. All right, we'll start with Joseph. Knowing that Ciryl Gane is likely the first real challenger for Tommy Aspinall, how many wins is the winner of Saturday's main event away from a title shot? So I'll start off by saying I wouldn't be that confident that Ciryl Gane is the guy right now. I think he's a very unpopular choice amongst the MMA community. I know it is sort of a sensical choice because he's coming off of a quote unquote victory against Alexander Volkov in his last fight, which nobody, including Dana White, thought he won. And of all the options that would be somewhat available, I feel like Ciryl Gane is one of the bottom options amongst the fan base right now because this guy has gotten many, many title shots at this point. So I don't know how confident I am in that being true, but taking that out of it, Derrick Lewis fighting Tallison Teixeira, Tallison Teixeira about to embark on his 9th professional fight, just his 2nd UFC fight. This just tells you how great heavyweight is right now. Tallison Teixeira getting himself a main event in his second UFC fight.
He's the number 13 ranked heavyweight in the UFC's rankings.
After beating Justin Tafa, by the way.
Yes, beating Justin Tafa in 35 seconds, number 13. This is a ranked heavyweight main event we got coming on here. Should tell you everything you need to know about this weight class.
How many wins is the winner of this fight away from fighting for the belt?
At most 2, and there's a possibility it's 1. It's not even like impossible that if Derrick Lewis wins, something goes wonky, they throw him in. He's a popular guy. Somebody falls out, he's willing to step in on short notice. Like, it's possible that could happen with a Derrick Lewis win here. But the more likely scenario is Derrick Lewis wins this, and then I don't. He's currently number 9 in the UFC rankings. Like he's fought all the people above him, which is a problem. Like that's honestly, if Derrick Lewis wins, I guess they would do Curtis Blades again because maybe Curtis Blades beats him in the rematch or whatever. But then if he wins that, he gets a title fight. Like I don't know where he goes with a win because he's fought all these dudes, and so kind of 1.5. Is that a good can I give the answer 1.5? Because it feels like it's not 3, but like could easily be 1 or just like 2 at the absolute most,
I don't think anybody is like in this division is 3 wins away from a title fight. Maybe Justin Toff is like 3 wins away from a title fight, but
yeah.
Outside like of the ranked guys currently, I don't think anyone is 3 fights away because there's nobody. Like there's truly nobody. If any heavyweight just goes out there and gets 3 finishes in a row or 2 big finishes in a row that people are talking about, there's a very good chance they get a title fight. I completely agree with you. I think if Derrick Lewis goes out and just bolts Tallison Teixeira, and I've been saying this forever, ever since this whole Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall debate began. Like if we're going to do any fight for Tom, like just throw Derrick Lewis in there. Like no one cares. We just want to see Tom fight. Are we really going to plant our flag on Meritocracy Mountain right now for the heavyweight division? Why? This is like the worst division to put the flag down. Let's just have Tom Aspinall fight literally anybody that he can fight right now. And if it's Derrick Lewis, so what? Like, who cares? Derrick Lewis is fun. People like him. It would do better than Ciryl Gane in terms of pay-per-view buys and general fan interest, I think.
Yeah, but I think that there is some level of like this isn't a total carnival. It's like super carnival-y, but we're not all the way to full carny sideshow shit. And there are a bunch of dudes in front of Derrick Lewis right now. And so like it would be a comedy of errors if Derrick Lewis wins this and gets plugged in because a bunch of people fall out, no one will step in. I'm not saying it can't happen, but at the same token, like if he wins 1 more after this, he's on a 3-fight winning streak, and like sure, Jailton Almeida deserves it, but like sure, it's going to break down. Honestly, like if I had to pick, if the over-under is set at 1.5, which I think is the right thing, I'm probably taking the under of that. Wouldn't be shocked if I was wrong, but I think I'm taking the under. So I do think both men will have to win 1 more, but it will only just be the 1 more.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone's getting in there, if it's just like, all right, we have to have Tom Aspinall fight on this date, who are we going to call? Ciryl ain't ready or whatever plans they have. Derrick Lewis is getting that phone call. Like, there's no doubt about it. Derrick I think he only has 2 fights left on his deal. He's trying to, or maybe 3, I'm not sure. He wants to fight these fights out and just get them done with. So I don't know what his future is going to look like. It's going to be pretty interesting to see. He's 40. This is his first fight in 14 months, which a lot of people
long way off
seem to forget. I know he's supposed to fight in November, but the weirdness happened the day before, and no one really knows what happened because Lord knows I asked him, and we got the kind of answer that I expected from him, which was, yeah, man, I just woke up and didn't feel like fighting. And we knew that wasn't really the case. So we'll see. We'll see. No one's that far out of it. I think Derrick is much closer than Tallison Teixeira, but Tommy Aspinall needs people to fight, and many of them. We got to get this division back on track. So, Forrest, what would it take for Francis Ngannou to come back to the UFC?
A shitload of money. I mean, a absolute dumpster truck full of cash. Anything less than that. One, because like to some extent, there is this idea. I'm reading Mark Raymondi's pro wrestling book right now. Not all the way through, but a lot of it does translate to MMA, as we all know. And there is an idea, right, that like you can always do business, and so you want to have this, but that bridge was so burnt. I think Dano could do business with him because Dano will. If you're going to play by the rules Dana lays out, Dana will do business with you. It's just whether you're willing to accept what Dana's going to give. And Francis made such a big deal about leaving, in my opinion, for good reason, for him to come back now for anything less than just an absolutely astonishing payday is seems really unlikely. And the UFC is not going to be inclined to give him that. Like I would bet, you should never bet like your own foot, but I'm pretty close to being like, I would bet my left foot that he never returns to the UFC.
Yeah, he ain't coming back. It's just not going to happen. Dana would have to be gone, I think. I think that would have to be part of it.
But even then, like, how is the UFC paying him the most money? Because like their whole business model is not to pay a shit ton of money. And like, I know that the Francis experiment in boxing didn't work, right? Like he lost both his boxing matches. Based on the rumblings and rumors, it seems like he's looking at his next fight being back in boxing. And again, like you can still sell that. Deontay Wilder just made his return from fake retirement. Tyson Fury's out here saying I'm unretiring again. Like that, there's meat on that bone that Francis can ply. And definitionally, because of how boxing contracts work, he'll make way more money if he comes to the UFC and fights Tom Aspinall. So there's just no reason for him to come back at all.
Yeah, it would be Dana gone. I don't think money will certainly be helpful. I think freedom of fighting would be possible. Like if he wanted to box, it would have to be sort of written in his contract that he would have to box, that he would be able to. And Jon Jones would have to be a fight that is like 100% done for that to happen, which by the way, as we all know, we probably won't get one of those things. We certainly won't get 2, and 3 is absolutely impossible. So yeah, he ain't coming back. Francis isn't a spry spring chicken either. He's what, 37, 38? How old is Francis right now?
I think Francis is 38.
He is 38. He'll be 39 in September. I know it's heavyweight, but he's 39. This man has been through a lot the last few years as well. So while he's like 39 in age, I would say the last few years probably aged him even more. So yeah, man, it's
he's not coming back, and that's okay.
He's fine. I don't even know if he fights for PFL again at this point. Like, especially after the town hall yesterday with Coach being like, look, man, we're not trotting Francis out there unless it's like a good fight. Like he's not squash. He's not squash matching anybody. Like we're going to trot him out there when the time is right. He's still getting ambassador pay.
That's dumb.
Do you want him to, you think just trotting him out there for squash matches is what to do with him at this point when he's making probably more than any fighter on the roster?
I do not believe that there is a fight that they can create that outside of maybe co-promoting with someone else. And even that's pretty suspect. That is genuinely like massively compelling.
Nemkov?
More so. How much more interesting is that fight to casual fans than just Francis Ngannou is fighting? Is Nemkov like he's juicing it a little bit for us, the people watching the show, but like we're gonna watch anyway. We are a captive audience. The idea is Francis Ngannou, and you're selling the baddest man on the planet. Like he should be fighting for you because that's how you are interesting to the average Tom, Dick, and Harry, not the people who go to MMAfighting.com. We're going to watch everything because we're sickos and we watch Cage Warriors and KSW and One on Thursday, Friday nights, whenever the hell they're running. Like he's like one of the marketable assets they have. And she's like, we're not rolling him out. It's like, I don't know, man. You should try and get that dude to fight every other weekend if you can.
I mean, he's definitely going to box next. So, but yeah, I mean, their approach is definitely interesting because we did have the town hall yesterday. Lazy Bid's asking about it. I don't know if you've watched it yet. Has my faith in the future of PFL increased, wavered, or remain unchanged? I would say mostly unchanged, but I feel like a little bit more positivity with Coach kind of talking the way he was talking. First of all, and I'll just say this with complete honesty, Coach is way more likable than Don Davis could ever be.
Obviously.
I mean, it's just night and day what a different conversation it was between the two Don Davis conversations and the Coachman conversation. I like the fact that, some of the answers that Coach gave was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, what are they going to do with the PFL app? Are they going to add like a Muay Thai kickboxing element to PFL? Are they going to try to grow combat sports using the app? And basically they were saying, hey, we're talking to other organizations about doing sort of a fight passy kind of thing on the app where we have all of our events, the international events, plus, some Muay Thai events and some regional MMA stuff. And I think it's kind of cool. Like, it helps their scouting process out a little bit. And I think that's a good idea. I love how they're getting rid of the Bellator titles because that is the most confusing shit in the entire universe. So there's things that like I came out of that conversation feeling like, all right, I mean, at least they're trying this year. And it seems to me, and this is also based on like other conversations that I've had, it seems like the PFL brass are willing to listen to people who have knowledge of the sport. They may not have all of the knowledge of the sport, but at least they're willing to listen and act on the ideas of the knowledgeable people they have inside their business, which I think if you watched that town hall yesterday or listened to it, I think you probably came away with it being like, okay, like they are trying to communicate with the brass and be like, yo, we need to do this. We don't need to do this. Do more of this. And it seems like they're trying to listen. Now, there's a lot of PR cleanup that they have to do. That is for certain. But I think all in all, it's been like, I mean, Coach, obviously, I asked Coach when he would give a grade to the first half of the PFL season. I didn't think he'd go A+. He did go A+. I think that's an insane answer. But I think you should be, I mean, I think if you're PFL, I think you are happy with how this year has gone thus far. I think the finals has to go well. I think your PFL Africa event next week needs to be a fucking slapper. So I think so far, like, compared to how I felt at this point last year, I feel better about them at this point right now than I did a year ago, if that makes sense.
Then I have yet to listen, so I feel the same. I've felt about them all year, which is, I want to give them credit for their successes. I think that they are making progress in like tangible, real ways. It's hard because I also feel like they just consistently take unforced errors, and so they feel neutral to me, which at least isn't going backwards totally. But I don't know. This felt like a make or break year for them to me, and they certainly haven't made it, and so sort of by definition that's bad in my head.
We shall see. I forgot about this today, but this is a big one. BKFC is having a state of the promotion press conference later today. Rumors of a quote unquote big signing announcement abound. What's a name they could announce that would genuinely make waves?
None. I don't know. Like what? Robbie hasn't signed with them, but there seems to be this like broad rumor that he's going there, right?
That would make it, maybe they announce him fighting Mike Perry. That'd make a lot of sense.
I'd say like that matchup could make waves to some extent, and like it'll do well. Again, I'm never here to shit on BKFC. I respect their product, but like I don't, almost by definition, whoever they're signing is someone old, like they're not signing people in the primes of their careers. And so you're not making, it's not like, oh shit, the UFC suddenly signed Francis back. We're going to get Francis Tom. It's like, we could have some fun with Robbie Lawler over in BKFC for sure. That'd be kind of cool, but is that making huge waves or just some ripples? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they could do to.
Mike Tyson would be like waves, but God, I hope that's not
bad
a thing.
Waves. It'd be terrible waves.
I mean, everybody tuned into stupid Netflix thing. People would watch, but I hope that's not the case. Like I don't know who else it would be.
How about Jose Aldo?
That would make me sad.
Really?
I hope that's not. Let's not do that.
What about this guy, Tony Ferguson?
That would be a lot more sad.
Yeah.
That would be a lot more sad than Jose Aldo. If you're going to make us do one, I guess do Jose just because the Tony one would be really sad.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. Oh, interesting.
Maybe it's Derrick Lewis. Maybe it's just like, hey, Derrick's last fight is this Saturday, and then we're signing him.
What if BKFC announced Tyson Fury? You said he's coming back. I know this is silly nonsense, but these are the type of announcements that would certainly pop mainstream.
So there's just no chance, but yes, that would make waves.
100%.
And like,
yeah,
it wouldn't be impossible, but for the fact that why would Tyson Fury come back to BKFC to not make as much money as he would in boxing? And so like, that's it. Just follow the money. Like Tyson's never going to come back for that paycheck. But like outside of that, you're like, yeah, Tyson Fury, you know, he was a bare knuckle boxer in his youth. That could make sense in some capacity, but it would never happen financially.
This one makes me sad. Ramazan Temirov dropped out of his fight after Mike chose him for his fantasy league. Same thing happened with Alessandro Costa last time. What gives? So if you are a UFC flyweight and I draft you in fantasy, like just be prepared to not fight this year.
Yeah, you're just not fighting.
This is so brutal, man. And AK losing Mayra Buena Silva like right after as well is it's just the nature of this fantasy game. It's a silly goose. It's a great concept, but it's such an emotional roller coaster ride.
It's a very silly goose. And when I first conceived it, I did not realize how much that stuff will like hurt. And it happens because the truth is it mostly evens out. Like everybody last season had at least one fighter not compete. And so like, that's just everybody's drafting 12 people. It's unlikely all of yours are going to make it to their fights on time or whatever, but it still doesn't make it any less painful. The benefit for you is at least it happened early. So there is the option that by the end of the year, you know, hopefully it's not, I have no idea what the injury was, but maybe could make the turnaround and still compete, even if it's not, you know, the one. And was Timur fighting next week or this week?
He's supposed to fight in Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi. So 3 weeks from now or whatever. Yeah. You know,
I mean, I saw some fighters say that they think he popped for something, which would just be horrible. There's really no coming back from that this year, more than likely. Even if he gets like a light suspension, he's not fighting this year.
Yeah. If he popped, then that's the end of his fantasy run for you for sure.
Unbelievable. Little Bird's saying Fedor could be the big announcement, Chad.
That would make me really sad. I really, really hope that's not true.
What would you want to see Fedor fight again in any way, shape, or form?
No. Fedor's pushing 50. How old is he? Fedor's 48, turning 49 in September.
What if they what if they did Fedor versus Alexei Oleinik? Would you feel better about it?
No. I mean, I would feel better about it at least, but I don't want to see either of those men get hurt. Like, unless it's Fedor fighting me, who he will still absolutely 100% win, I don't need it. No thanks.
Michael Sparks, what are y'all's thoughts on maybe getting rid of the trash bonuses and just do like 75K finish bonuses? So you and I have been tooting this horn for years now.
Forever.
The $50,000 bonuses are silly. We should just do any finish. You get some extra pay. So yeah.
It makes the whole concept makes no sense because the concept of the bonus is people will fight for the bonus. Well, I mean, what you want is finishes. So incentivize finishes and don't be like, well, your finish needs to either be the only finish on the card or super good. Like it's just cut everybody's on a flat salary instead of a show win. Cause that's stupid. And then there's finish bonuses for everybody. It seems incredibly simple to me.
Forrest, who has the most to lose and who has the most to gain at UFC Nashville? I think we all might have to pull this card up.
Gotta pull that up. So let me take a gander here.
I think most to lose
is Stephen Thompson.
I don't think so. I won't go with him.
It's Stephen Thompson or it's Calvin Kattar. It's one of
I think it's Kattar. I think it's certainly Kattar. Wonderboy's got 2 fights left on his deal. He's very realistic about where he goes. I just dropped my interview with him. He's basically looking at it like, hey, if these 2 fights go great, then like I'll keep fighting. And if they don't, like, then I'll be on the broadcast desk. Like it's fine. And again, this is a guy who he's legitimately, when he steps into that octagon on Saturday, is the oldest fighter on the roster at 42 years of age. And this is a guy who has not had to fight in pretty much his entire career. Like, this guy does not have to fight to support himself. He fights because he just likes fighting. So I think he's very realistic in the fact that he knows he's not fighting for a belt and all of those things. But this is a guy who knows, like, hey, this could be the second to last fight of my career. And this is a guy who's beating Joaquin Buckley until he didn't, in my opinion. So he's still very capable.
He was absolutely winning that fight until the end. Yeah,
until he got knocked out with like 3 minutes left in the fight. So I don't think he's got much to lose. Cater, it's going to be interesting if they keep him around if he loses to Steve Garcia. Wonder Boy, if he's got one fight left in his deal, like, they're going to let Wonder Boy fight it out. He's been a company guy. Sure. They like him a lot.
Shit, they'll re-sign him.
Even if he loses.
If he wants to keep going, they'd re-sign him, I think.
Yeah, give him Gabriel Bonfim. If he loses to Bonfim, like he said, I even asked him, I said, if you made the decision tomorrow and said, all right, I'm fighting these 2 fights out and I'm done after this fight, like, who's the guy you'd want to have the last fight with? He said, Carlos Praches. Let's just go in there. Like, we'll go on our shields. We'll just kick each other and punch each other really hard until somebody falls. And then I'll go on my merry way. I like that idea.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Most to gain. Is it Tallison?
I mean, yes, but also, like, even if he loses, like, he gains, and so it's probably it. I mean, Bonfim gets to get rocketed into the rankings and be like a guy. I don't know. Yeah, it's probably still Tallison, but you could convince me Bonfim or even Steve Garcia. All 3 of those matchups are just like, here's an old person. Will you put this old person down and take their place? Is it like it is entirely a top 3 matchups of, will the old dog get put down?
Boy, there's not a lot of stakes in this card, is there? Like, overall, outside of the main event, because of what it is right now. Tough. Lauren Murphy's final fight happening on Saturday as well. Yeah. She's retiring after this one, so
didn't realize that she was retiring until earlier this week when somebody mentioned it.
Yeah. So this is it. She didn't want to go out on that. She hasn't fought since that Jessica Andrade fight. That was
like a while ago, wasn't it?
Was that the Jamal Hill Glover Teixeira card?
I have no idea. Hold on.
UFC 283 it was.
Yeah, it's so long ago. Jeez. Yeah. 2 years.
Wait, 2.5, yeah.
2.5, yeah.
Damn. Yeah, she took an ass whooping in that fight. I love Lauren Murphy too. One of my favorite fighters to talk to. I still say to this day, the most brutally honest interview that I've ever had. She was willing to come on after she fought for the belt against Valentina Shevchenko and just talked about what it was like to basically just get beat up by an all-time great. And when she realized, yeah, this is way different than anything that I've seen before.
She is a massive underdog to Eduardo Mora.
There's a lot
of 650 per our friends at FanDuel.
Oh, I might have to take a shot here.
I mean, that's just again, retiring fighter. They rarely win their retirement fights, but yeesh. Eduardo Mora being minus 650, not really sure that's appropriate.
Are there plans to release y'all's fantasy league format to the public? We already did.
Yeah. There's an article on the website showing the scoring and everything. Format's pretty. I kept it as like when I created, I kept it super simple. So because like there's not a league that tracks this, so it has to be done on spreadsheets or whatever. It's 100 points for a win, 50 points for a bonus, 50 points for a finish, 50 points for a title fight, or 25 points for a title fight, 25 points for a main event, something like that. I gotta pull it back up, but it's like 300 max per fighter per fight points, and one in each weight class and a wild card.
The roster bots did some things yesterday. We haven't like fully confirmed all of these, but I would probably feel confident that all of these names would certainly be on this list. So the question is from Warship. Any of the UFC cuts announced today surprise you? DWCS is clearly upon us. The names
Who are the
are
rumored cuts?
Trevin Giles,
Okay.
Jordan Vucenic,
Okay.
Angelosa,
Okay.
Viviane Araújo.
Viviane Araújo, that's a little surprising. She's ranked, so that would be surprising.
She just lost to Tracy Cortez, though.
She did, but she's like, she is, hold on.
She's probably like top 12.
She's number 10 in the UFC
really?
flyweight rankings.
Holy shit.
So that would be, and that's even after the Cortez loss. Like, that would, she's ahead of Miranda Maverick, like that would be surprising if Araújo, and maybe it's just she fought her contract out and, that's it. I don't know the terms there, but that one would be a little surprising. Even though, I mean, look, she's old, right? She's been around for a hot minute. What is she? 30 something, right? 38. Yeah. About to be 39. But she had won her fight before this. I would assume that if she's exited, it's not she got released. It is she did not get re-signed.
Yeah.
Or she's retiring and hasn't shared that information publicly.
Could be.
38, going to be 39. It's, it's old.
When did she fight before? Was it a 311 she fought?
I just had her pulled up and then I brought that down. So hold on.
No.
She fought Karine Silva at 309.
309. So that was
November.
Right?
Yep. Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And like,
I'm trying to see like what she's making, like purse wise, but we're not getting that. I don't really see that info from anybody. So
she's 2-4 in her last 6, but the losses are Tracy Cortez, Natalia Silva, Amanda Ribas, Alexa Grasso. Like those are all of them are top 10 fighters in their respective weight classes.
13 fights. She's probably making like 50 and 50. So
yeah.
There's probably just, okay, let's get that off the payroll more than anything.
I'd still be a little surprised, but how can you ever be surprised at if this company just cuts people who are making money because all they want to do is if the UFC could do it, they would be 100% happy with every fighter making 10 and 10 and all being Contender Series people, and they wouldn't care at all. But they would happily do that.
Oh God, yeah. They're so excited for Contender Series coming up.
Yeah.
They're gonna.
That's why Dana said they do twice as many. It's like, come on.
Yeah. And don't buy
last season. I think they took 40. Hold on, I actually have that number in front of me.
They've broken the record every year.
Give me a second. How many did they take last year? 42 new signees. This was not including people who have subsequently been signed for one reason or another, but that was at the completion of the season. They had officially signed 42 new signees. The 2023 season, they signed, 47. So they did go down a little bit from 2023 to 2024. But again, probably 45 new fighters coming to the roster. They're all making 10 and 10. You also have to remember they tried to sign Arden Dude for 10 and 10. And he was like, no. And they're like, well, you're not going to be here. It's like, cool, I'm going back to glory. So Zakatov was like, I'm not taking 10 and 10, you goddamn lunatics.
Yeah.
And they're like, can't break it. Can't make different rules for you.
Yeah. It's us.
Every year, the Contender Series proffers them 45 new warm bodies to fill roster spots. They pick up another 50. They pick up another 10 through tough. I think they only do one tough season a year, right? So, like, you're talking at 55 new members of the roster every year from those two things.
Yeah. Not to mention looking for a fight and all that other stuff. God, it's just so bad. I miss the real Contender Series. God, I miss it so much.
I can confidently tell you, as a person who's watched every single one of the last 2 seasons of fights to do this write-up that I do, there were like half of that should have been signed. And that's being really generous.
Yeah. And that's how the first like couple of seasons were. Like, even if you got finishes and they were impressive, it did not mean you got signed. Like, you had to do something super special to get signed.
Yeah. You're basically looking at every winner, with some exceptions, goes
And
every
losers.
week.
If it was a split decision and Dana thought the other guy might have won, he just gives him a contract.
But you're basically looking at every winner because they do 8 weeks and they're 5 fights, and that's 40. That's how math works. You're looking at every winner plus 1 or 2 additional pieces of change coming in there get signed. And just watching all the fights, just like, no, like half of you should probably get signed. If you're really trying to juice the numbers, if you're trying to be restrictive, a core, like they would sign maybe 1 fighter an episode, like 1 to 2 an episode.
Yeah.
Not what they're after.
Nope. We all know what it is. We can all see through it. And
cheap labor is great.
That's what this all is, folks. Speaking of waivers, Matthew is saying we should do waivers in our fantasy league. I'm big into fantasy football, and I waited on the waivers every year, and then you guys could cycle up players and snag new players and have a weekly waiver episode. So, I mean,
it's really hard to do.
It is very difficult.
It's straight like before we debuted this 2.5 years, whatever. This is our 3rd season now. Or we're going to be entering our 3rd season now. I had been working on this concept for like 4 years. Back, like I had pitched this to Shaheen years ago, before we finally rolled it out. And like at various points, it was incredibly complicated because like it can be as complicated as you want to make it. If you want to make your own, I know other people have, you can make it as complicated as you want, but because there's not like Yahoo fantasy thing, like there is ESPN has a fantasy football app or whatever. There's not one of those where it's really like the tech is managing it. It's on a spreadsheet. And I also knew that since this was my creation, I was going to be the person in charge of keeping track with it. And I didn't want to do that shit. Like that's a lot to add to the plate for no gain. We're not playing for money or things. And so I kept it as simple as possible. We added a keeper this season because I thought that would be fun. We may slowly start to add some sort of thing like that. It hasn't been necessary because when we all have 12 fighters, everybody losing 1 fight is fine. If it gets to a point where like, actually somebody has 6 fighters not compete, then maybe we can find a way around it or whatever, because like, it wouldn't be hard to do a waivers thing, but this isn't supposed to be daily fantasy. Like you just do that. You can go to our friends at FanDuel and play daily fantasy MMA, or weekly, I guess, for MMA functionally. But like, this isn't that. That's not the point. The point is to draft a fighter and hold on to them and hope they do well for 6 months.
Yeah. And like, if we're going to do anything like that, much like the keeper, you just do like one.
That's the thing. It would be a one-time, if we were to introduce it, because I thought it would be a one-time thing. You can take any non-drafted person and get rid of any person on your roster. But you can't get rid of a person who's already competed. So it has to be a person who, has yet to compete, and you could swap them out for a blank. So like in your situation, you're like, oh, cool, they're out. I'm going to pick up random person to fill this slot because that's how that would be it.
Yeah. Which is a risky proposition too, because like if Ilya Taporia is booked in August and then you lose him, but you wasted the waiver wire pick on somebody else, like that hurts you. That could hurt you in a variety of ways. So it's, that's an interesting wrinkle that we can add to this, but as we just started that,
you're goddamn right. Aeneid Saranga. You're goddamn right. He did. You put that comment up, Mike. The people need to see it.
This one,
Nico. You don't follow F1 at all. F1 has been lit for the last like 6 days. It's been incredible. Nico Hülkenberg. Let me tell you the ballad of Nico Hülkenberg very briefly, Mike. Nico is like a really good race car driver and has been since like 2010. And he had the ignominious title of being the man with the most F1 races without finishing on the podium. and he blew that thing away by like 100 races. It was close to 250 F1 races without a podium, which is an incredible thing to achieve because it means you're good enough to hang around the best racing league in the world, but you never a couple of times he screwed up some options, but like he just never got into a good car to make the podium for the most part, which is a really narrow window. And it was just like, he's never going to get it. And nobody ever would have thought he'd gotten it. He started in 19th. Mike, I don't know if you know this, there are 20 cars on the grid of an F1 race. He started dead last, in fact, because the number 20 had to start from the pit lane because of shenanigans. And you're like, okay, it wasn't even on the radar that he would finally get it. And this past weekend, freaking Silverstone went insane. It was rain everywhere, safety cars out the ass. It was a nonsense race. And out of nowhere, Nico Hülkenberg finally gets his first podium. It's like one of the cooler. It's not that dissimilar to Rory winning the Masters, where it's just like, only it's not as high of a cool thing, but it was way less anticipated. Whereas Rory was like a betting favorite and could have happened. It should have never happened. Nico did it. Shout out to Nico. I'm not even a big Nico fan, but that was an awesome ass story. And then Christian Horner got his ass fired yesterday. Hell yeah. F you, Christian Horner. You suck. F1's been banging lately.
Next week, Karate Combat holds a multi-night event featuring a 2-day heavyweight tournament.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Among the participants, Rebellis Despain, Alan Belcher, Zach Pauga, and others. Does the Booper get it done?
I don't know who. Wait, who was that? Put that back up. It was Alan Belcher.
Rebellis has to be the Booper.
Yeah. Oh no, he's certainly the Booper. I'm just trying to look at who the other people that the Booper would have to fight. I don't know. Like probably. Zach Pauga is not going to get it done. Belcher's like a professional fighter. So like you could convince me he can make some stuff happen for him, but I don't know. Depending on who else is there, Rebellis certainly seems like a good bet to succeed. That like Karate Combat seems like his sport in the same way that Mike Perry BKFC is like fits like a glove. Rebellis seems to really fit in Karate Combat.
Yeah, because they just give him the worst fighter in the world to just nuke in 9 seconds, which is great promotional tactics, by the way.
Also, because Rebellis is, I mean, I know that technically he's a mixed martial artist, but he's a Taekwondo guy. Like that was his whole thing at the Olympics. He was a Taekwondo guy. So like makes sense that he's in something much closer to a Taekwondo league and succeeding as opposed to getting in double leg by Waldo Cortez Acosta
and Austin Lane.
But I made a lot of money on Austin Lane, so I'm comfortable with that one happening.
God damn it. UFC Abu Dhabi opening odds. Marcus Buchecha plus 140, Martin Budai minus 160. Really? That seems surprising.
Yeah. Do you guys know that Martin Budai is not very good?
Yeah.
I will be betting Buchecha if that line stays similar as we get closer.
Yeah. I don't think Buchecha is like winning any world titles.
No, but Martin Budai is not good.
Yeah. I thought Buchecha would be like a minus 350 in that fight, but you never know. Maybe
Warship. So we're clear. There's a really decent chance Waldo Cortez Acosta fights Tom this year.
Yeah.
He's fighting Sergey Pavlovich in like 3 weeks, whenever the hell that is. 4 weeks that is. And if he beats Sergey Pavlovich, he's fighting Tom this year.
Michael, I think it's crazy how fast everyone quit talking about Poatan. 1 loss, and now he ain't the greatest. No more gonna be the same with Ilya when he fights Arman.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be the same because I think Ilya could beat Arman. I don't know that I'd pick him, but I think he absolutely can. But yeah, like again, this is the drum I've been beating pretty firmly for the last like 4 years now of like, it's great to be excited about people. And I never want people to not be excited about people because that's no fun. But like, you can't just be like, oh, well, they're going to do all of this because they have to do it. And if they don't, like Poatan was getting like, is he the greatest fighter? Because he was exciting. It was really fun to root for him. And then suddenly lose Don Goliath. And you're right. Like, it's not like, oh, there was the like, well, he'll never catch Jon Jones because of this. But like, what if he's just the greatest fighter because everything he's doing is outrageous and we can't believe it? Like, you got to find a middle ground between being excited about the current thing that's happening and thinking it's the greatest thing that's ever happened. Because at some point it might become the greatest thing that's ever happened, but like you're just going to be really wrong a lot, and that's exhausting to me personally. I hope Ilia Topuria goes down as the greatest fighter of all time because it'd be really cool. It would be really cool to see him win the welterweight belt after putting together a sustained lightweight run, and that is a thing to be in the sport. But like, we should let him, I don't know, get 3 title defenses in a weight class before we're fantasy booking other shit. And in the same, like Pereira, great run, one of the most magical runs in recent memory. He lost to Ankalaev, and now it's like he just sort of went into the dead zone for a hot minute.
Yeah, I mean the schedule and how often he was fighting, it's just not maintainable.
Yeah,
it's just not. Like he was fighting hurt so many different times. He did the UFC so many favors, and then it was just like, okay, I fought 4 times in 11 months. And then I fight Ankalaev, who's probably the best 205er in the world and is not going to give me the type of fight that I'm looking for. Yeah. I mean, that's just what happens. But the problem is it's not even like Pereira that people aren't necessarily excited about. It's unfortunately most people feel he's going to fight Ankalaev again, and there's no interest in that rematch. Like just none.
Not for me.
Yeah, there's just no interest. But I'd rather see Pereira just go fight Tom Aspinall. Like, just give that to Tom. Do it as a favor. Pay Pereira extra money. Go try to make history and give Tom the biggest fight possible. Alex says ignominious is a great word. Thanks, Jed. In a $2 super chat.
Ignominious? Yes. Ignominious is a great word.
It is a great word. Yep. Ignominious. If I could read.
We all have our struggles.
Yeah. Forrest, what UFC card is the best in July? UFC Nashville, Holloway versus Poirier 3, or the Abu Dhabi card headlined by Whitaker versus Heinier de Hitter?
Heinier de Hitter. Let's take a look at them top to bottom. I remember thinking that the pay-per-view isn't that good.
It's not terrible.
Oh, the pay-per-view portion of this card. I'm going to default say Abu Dhabi's better. Abu Dhabi's better. Abu Dhabi's better.
Okay.
Abu Dhabi's better. Look, like there's a decent chance Kopolov doesn't happen. So like, just, consider that. Just, I don't know. Paulo Costa's never a guy to believe in. Like Danny Ige Patricio Pitbull is a fight that would have been way more, like it's still good, but would have been way more fun like 2 years ago. Kevin Holland, Daniel Rodriguez is like fine, but main card of a pay-per-view. Zell Huber's just gonna annihilate Michael Johnson. So like that's cool to get Zell Huber over, but that feels more fight nighty than it does pay-per-view-y. Straight up, this pay-per-view feels like a fight night with one sensational main event to sort of get it over. Like if Holloway Poirier fell off this card, knock on wood, Godspeed, don't want that to happen. This would be a god awful pay-per-view. So I give me the Abu Dhabi card. I think because Evloev Pico is honestly probably the best of all the fights on all of the cards. When you consider that Poirier, like that fight as a fight is going to be way more fun and cool, but Poirier is going to retire. So that fight isn't leading anywhere for him. Where's Holloway stand in the lightweight title picture with a win? Probably not super high given he just got obliterated by the current champion. So I don't know. Whitaker, RDR, and Evloev Pico, like those bangers. Give me the Abu Dhabi card, even though it does have Bryce Mitchell Nazi on it.
Oh yes, he is fighting in Abu Dhabi. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Abu Dhabi is better though.
So
the aforementioned Budai Buchecha fight is on that card.
Sure is. Lots of fantasy implications coming up on UFC 318. My second overall pick, Atiba Gautier, about to get his first 275er.
Sure is
of the season. The first of at least 2, possibly 3. I think he's going to be my number one point getter and maybe the biggest point getter of the entire league this year. The more I think about it,
just you wait. Daniel Zellhuber is going to kill Michael Johnson, and he's turning around for the September Noche card. He's going to kill whoever they give him, and then he's going to get one more in. And Zellhuber, you guys let me get a steal or Shara. Shara's going to obliterate this dude. He's gonna kill Marc-Andre Barrio. Marc-Andre Barrio is gonna get knocked out in 4 seconds, and then he's gonna turn around for the next Abu Dhabi
Have you
card
watched
and knock out some other bum.
Have you watched Shara Bullet fight?
Yeah, I've also watched Marc-Andre Barrio fight. His hands are at his ankles. He's gonna get killed.
Marc-Andre Barrio almost killed a man in his last fight.
Yeah, gonna be great. I gamed the system this time. Morgan Charrier. I gamed the system so hard.
That's a decent pick.
Morgan Charrier is going to kill Nate Landwehr.
He's going to get a bonus. Though.
I mean, they're going to go insane, and then eventually Nate Landwehr will die because that's how he fights. Is he is going to kill or be killed. Morgan Charrier wins, and he fights UFC Paris. I just took all people where I was like, "You're definitely fighting at this card in the future." I'm getting 2 bites at the apple with half of my team.
We shall see. Despite the betting line, is Fatima Klein versus Melissa Martinez one of the more intriguing matchups of UFC Nashville? 2 young straws with potential to be future divisional stalwarts. I say yes. I know you're very happy because you feel like Fatima Klein.
The odds makers suggest it's not compelling.
I think I'm going to put money on Melissa Martinez just because I don't think this should be lined as wide or even close to it.
Here's the problem. Right, because the odds makers, our friends at FanDuel, they're no morons. This is a classic. Just don't bet on this line that they've put out there. And you know how you know this, guys, for the gambling newbies out there who don't know things. Do you want to take a guess at the line, Mike? I don't know if you've looked at it recently.
Minus 1050.
No, Fatima Klein is minus 1,400.
Oh, I'm definitely betting on Melissa Martinez then.
See, but Mike, here's the problem. Because you look at that and think, they really don't want you to bet on Fatima Klein. Well, the Melissa Martinez line is plus 680. They put a pretty big gap there because they're like, You know what? Don't bet on this fight. We don't want your action on this fight. That is, you are getting no point of reference on Melissa Martinez in comparison. Damn. Less than half. It is.
Yes. There's so many.
There is monstrous.
Mike Davis minus 1,100 favorite. Mm-hmm. Holy shit.
To a plus 600 comeback on Mitch Ramirez. They don't want your action on Melissa Martinez, and they don't want your action on Fatima Klein. Get the hell out of here. Don't bet this fight is what FanDuel is telling everybody.
Whole card is just massive favorites.
A lot of big favorites next week.
Vitor Petrino is a minus 800 against a UFC fighter.
Yeah, I mean that UFC fighter is Austin Lane, but there's a decent because you're at least getting plus 480 there. There's a chance I'd take a real small shot on him.
God, there's a lot of like underdogs on here that look interesting. Derrick Lewis, obviously. Stephen Thompson at plus 300.
A lot of big favorites in the undercard. No one drafted Mitch Ramirez, Mike Davis.
I think AK kind of regrets that. The problem is he's like Mike Davis is very good. You can get a ton of value in that sense, but like Mike just doesn't fight.
I was say, will he then fight again? Probably not.
It's like drafting Montel Jackson. Like I'd love to have Montel Jackson on my fantasy teams. He might be the best bantamweight in the UFC, but he just doesn't fight. So we'll never know. And he's not a guy that's going to quickly climb the ranks. So tough. It's tough.
Tough scenes.
Thoughts on Ramzan Temurov failing a drug test after taking medicine in Thailand? Is that what happened? Did he really
gotta stop taking meds in Thailand. Can't be doing that. Also, my guess is that's even if that's the story being told, let's just say I'm skeptical that that's the truth.
Let's see. So I'm reading an article that was.
I didn't really buy Anderson Silva's Thai pill excuse either. So
This is what he said. This is translated by a Russia reporter. This is via Temarov's social media. My fight in Abu Dhabi against Asil Mabayev has been canceled. The reason is that it was our fault. When I arrived in Thailand for training, I developed an infection on my leg and the wound began to fester. As an athlete, I needed urgent treatment. When it was time to take my medication, I consulted my nutritionist who prescribed me a drug. I took the drug and drank it. It's never a good sign, by the way. 3 days later, the doping control team came to me and took samples. As it turned out later, the drug contained a prohibited substance. It was my mistake. I didn't check the medicine properly, didn't inform the doping agency. Now it's all over, but I'm not giving up hope. I will continue to move forward with pure intentions and confidence in the future. Well, fuck me, right?
Yeah, that's pretty tough for you. Here's what I'll say. I think most people watching this, listening to this after the fact, I just don't care about steroids in the sport. It is meaningless to me. If I were in charge, I would just not drug test. So with that being said, if you're operating in a sport with drug testing, you should do it credulously. And what I mean by that is if we're going to pretend to care about this, which apparently we've decided we're going to pretend to care about this, you can't be like, well, that guy, he just forgot. Like, no, they've been drug testing for like a decade now. It is part and parcel of the UFC. And one of the very clear things made is like there's an open list of what's banned. If you ever have questions about a supplement, you can submit it to us and ask or anything like that. With the core concept being, don't put random shit in your body. And if you do, tell us that you put some random shit in your body to cover your ass, because it's CYA that exists in all forms of life and all businesses and all jobs you ever had. And so like the most generous reading is that he's a moron, a stone cold, outright dumbass who cannot think 3 feet in front of his head, because like, I'm just going to take this random drug and I know that I exist in a league that piss tests me and I don't know what this is, but like, it's probably fine. I'm not even going to tell him I do this. Or he didn't want to tell him. For one reason or another, he didn't want to tell him, hey, I'm taking this substance. And you can draw your conclusions to why that might be. But either he's the dumbest man alive or a little shady. I don't care either way, frankly. But that's the only reasonable interpretation here.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to... There's very rare cases where it's like a true mistake. The Rob Font situation is probably the one that sticks out most, where it was like, all right, like that is a false positive. That was a legit fuck up and he was legit cleared of everything. Other than that, like that's like a unicorn in the drug testing world.
Other than that, you are at the minimum careless. Like at the minimum, you're just being careless. I would suggest that it's probably more than that, but like the most generous reading is that you're just like, I didn't tell him. I decided to take this gas station dick pill. And I was like, it's fine. Like, and I didn't think like, then you're just an idiot. It's not hard to like, hey, dude, I track my food. That's literally all this is. Like, I have a fucking calorie app and I just plug in the shit I eat. You're doing the same thing, only you're a professional fighter who gets drug tested. It's not hard.
Yes. And this is always great advice. This was Rob Font's manager, Tyson Chartier, after the whole Rob Font situation, because it was because of this due diligence was the reason he got cleared. Yeah. So if you're a fighter dealing with this is what Tyson said. He told me, quote, do yourselves a favor and keep food logs, supplement logs, and food receipts. Never use the full bottle of supplements of hygiene products. Keep a small amount on hand until you get your next test back and it says you were clear. Take photos of all labels and ingredients just in case. Had we not done all this stuff, I don't think we would have been able to clear Rob's name.
Yeah, it's easy. That's like, and that's not easy, but like you're a professional athlete. That's the job. That's part of the job.
Yeah.
It's part of the job. Or don't and just wear it on the chin.
What about Jon Jones' return?
He's not coming back.
Guys.
I was on Submission Radio on Sunday. Shout out to Dennis. We love Dennis. With our old friend New York Rick. Shout out to Ricky.
Oh, cool.
And obviously this was a topic because John was out there tweeting, and I'll tell you all what I said then. John's not coming back. If John was coming back, he'd come back. Jon got a little Henry Cejudo in him when he left and everybody moved on. There was like a day and a half where people were like, oh shit, whoa, he finally did it. Most people celebrated. Like there wasn't like this, wow, let's celebrate one of the greatest careers. It was like, finally, he got his ass out and we can move on. That's entirely his fault. He would have been celebrated much more if he didn't go about it in the worst possible way. But so he didn't get this wonderful, glorious send-off that I'm certain his ego wanted. And then everybody moved on very quickly because 2 days later or whatever, Ilia Topuria killed Charles Oliveira and there was a new shiny toy to talk about. And Jon can't handle that. Jon has never been able to handle when there's a new shiny toy. And then Donald Trump gave like the best thing to be like, ooh, maybe this will get Jon back. No. Why would Jon come back? You tell me why Jon will come back. Is it for the money? He's already getting all the money he was going to get. That number's not going to change. Is it because he wants to do something cool? He still has to fight Tom Aspinall. And I got to tell you, he's just not doing that, because if he's fighting Tom Aspinall, he'd fought Tom Aspinall. Fighting Tom Aspinall next July is a much worse idea. Now, if Tom loses and Alex Pereira becomes the champion, then Jon will come back. I don't know why the UFC would let him come back, but then Jon would come back if that circumstance happens. But otherwise, no, he's tweeting because there's an emptiness inside him and he can't fill it up. And the attention is the only thing that can do it. He is never coming back to fighting ever. It's just not happening.
No, he's done. He's done. And it's okay. It's totally okay. We are
one of, if not the greatest careers of all time.
Yeah. The UFC does not need Jon Jones, guys. They don't need anybody. They do not need a single fighter on their roster to be successful right now.
And by all accounts, they bent over backwards comparatively to make that fight happen. Gave into all of Jon's demands, and Jon was still like, nah. He chose not to fight. And I don't blame him for that. This is not me calling him a coward or whatever, but by every account of it, at this point, he chose not to fight. I don't know why he would choose to fight next year when it's a worse fight for him.
Yeah. What would headline if the UFC came out and just said, like, we're doing this July 4th, 2026, the lawn of the White House, we're doing an event. It's going to be Dana White, all the Nelk boys, all of Trump's friends. It's just going to be a private invite, like the Anderson Silva Chael Sonnen boxing match. I should put boxing in air quotes. VIP black tie kind of a thing. What's headlining this card? Because it ain't Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Like, that's just not happening.
That would be people. So funny you mentioned this. We have an article coming out either tomorrow or this weekend where AK and I fantasy book it. The UFC White House card. We just had some fun with that. There are two. Let's just say that like Jon Tom fight would be bad because at that point Tom probably wins, and then England has delivered comeuppance on the White House lawn on July 4th, the 250th.
Terrible.
Like that would be terrible.
Terrible.
That's bad booking if that happens. Like you need to poison Tom's water the night before to make sure he loses. The only way I think this fight ever happens is these circumstances. And now I honestly think that it's like really possible. Okay. And it's Conor Chandler. Because the truth is like Donald Trump is going to want something that he wants for this. Like it's a big spectacle. It's meaningful. And like, I know Dana's got his ear, but if Dana's like, hey, let me sell you on UFC 250, White House 250, UFC White House, whatever, it's going to be Valentina Shevchenko versus Natalia Silva or whatever. Like that's just not going to fly. And because there aren't many like great American stars right now, there's one American champion, it's Kayla Harrison. She might be the co-main event as a result of that, frankly, depending on how the Amanda Nunes fight shakes out. But Donald Trump's going to want this to be the biggest event of all time because he's putting it on the White House. And it's like, and the biggest event of all time is going to have to be Conor. And Donald has a relationship with Conor. I don't believe Conor intends to fight again, frankly, but that's the difference, right? Conor would come back for this. Conor doesn't give a fuck about his legacy. Like, there's no legacy to care. Like, he is a double champ and did that, but like Conor is about the zeros at the paycheck and doing the biggest thing that can be done always. Jon fundamentally cares about his legacy, and the concern that his legacy would suffer in a loss, which maybe it would, is enough to be a blocker. Whereas like this is such a big thing. Like, Conor doesn't care if he loses. He cares that he headlined the biggest UFC event of all time on the lawn of the White House with Donald Trump in attendance. Like, that would be a thing for him. And Michael Chandler will accept that fight if it comes in 2064. Michael Chandler will be in the nursing home saying, "See you at the top," and be like, "Hell yeah, brother, I'm in." He's never going to say no. Certainly if it's in the White House lawn with Donald Trump. Like, that's the biggest fight they could make. It's a carnival. It's a circus, but like, that's a carnival circus fight. And so I think it's straight up 50-50 that happens.
Makes sense. Wouldn't surprise me.
The only fight that makes sense. You're just going to put a random regular title fight? No, you need something bombastic and absolutely over the top, because doing a UFC show on the White House lawn is an over the top bombastic thing. It's the only fight that could happen, and the UFC would make it happen because like the president will be like, "Hey man, I want this to happen, and Conor's my friend too. Make it happen," and it'll go.
July 4th, 2026 is on a Saturday as well, which would line up perfectly.
Yeah, it'll be absolutely chaos. I feel really bad for Jose if he has to spend his July 4th doing that sideshow, but it would be the biggest event we'll ever cover.
Yeah. Does this happen? Yeah. If there,
I straight up think it's 50-50.
Okay. Would you bet if it was even money and you had to make a bet on it, is it happening?
Yeah. I'd throw it just for funsies. Like, I wouldn't throw $1 million on it, but like, the thing is, my best guess is it happens something similar, but not quite the same happens, because like, I'm old enough to remember when we were promised Fight Island, and what we got was Yas Arena, which they'd already been to, and wasn't like Fight Island or anything. It was just like, here's this arena we've been to, but they'll let us play a little fast and loose with the COVID stuff. And so like, my guess is it doesn't actually happen on the White House lawn, but also never underestimate this administration's interest in doing something that seems insane. And just being, because it's a pretty ludicrous thing to be like, we're going to hold the UFC event on the lawn of the White House. Why? Like, what, for what reason to do that? But they get a notion in their head, and they're like, again, 50-50. If Dana is really good friends with Donald Trump appears to want this. I'm going to guess he's just going to keep wanting it, because that seems to, it doesn't seem like he changes his mind too much about the things he's interested in. And I don't see the blocker to it happening, other than like everybody just gets bored of the idea by next year.
It's got to be interesting if they could pull this off. Because, much like Dana White, Donald Trump is a guy who likes to just say things and then it doesn't happen. It's just things that happen between those.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. He held a $100 million parade or whatever for his birthday. Like, you can't putting a UFC on the White House it's insane that this is the timeline, but like, that feels incredibly possible. And especially like the traction that immediately got when that was proffered. Like, yes, like mainstream media was like, this is ridiculous, but also they don't give a shit about mainstream media. Why'd they ever care? And there's no question that would be the biggest event of the decade for the UFC. There's no question at all to me that would be, and could potentially be, the biggest event of all time.
Could be. Maybe UFC Nashville.
You put Conor McGregor fighting on the White House lawn, at least 1.5 million pay-per-views are being sold. I refuse to believe there's $1 less.
That'd be in the midst of the new TV deal too. So maybe one of their broadcasters just pays a floppity $1 jillion just to have the
What a life we live. What a life we live.
Yeah. Do you remember a time when politics did not belong in MMA? Remember those days? Dana White was adamant.
I'm old enough to remember a lot of things about shut up and dribble and don't bring your politics into my sport. don't hear the same with that anymore. But c'est la vie.
It's a different world. It's a different world. Well, the UFC is heading to.
Oh, Michael Sparks, there won't be tickets to this thing. Let's be clear. It's the
No.
White House law, and there aren't one. You can't ticket because everybody attending would just need to be vetted by the Secret Service. No, this would be a functional semi-private event, and the attendees would be Congress.
And the Nelk boys.
Yeah, like Congress and influencers and the people that like there wouldn't be selling tickets to this thing at all.
Dave Portnoy would be there. Like that would be your audience. It'd be pretty much a kick stream.
Yeah, which would be Lazy Bed with an incredible comment you should bring up, Mike. Just absolutely elite. But yeah, like it just wouldn't be, they wouldn't sell tickets to this, which means the event, like the atmosphere would probably suck because you'd have just like, dude, like the next time Donald Trump shows up to an event, might be 318, though probably not. The next time he comes, he's always coming with a cadre of other political, the political entourage. Look at Marco Rubio's face the next time he's on a UFC camera. That man would rather be anywhere other than cage side at a fist fight. Like he just clearly has no interest in being there. But look, we've all done stuff for our jobs, like got to suck up to the boss, whatever. Like we've all done it. But that would just be a collection of people. Like I assume there wouldn't be many Democrat Congress people attending. And, certainly there's some MMA fans amongst the various, senators and representatives who are rightward leaning. But like, I got to tell you, I don't think Marjorie Taylor Greene is watching Apex cards at home, so you're just going to get all of those people and then the Nelk boys and, the Donald Trump's family. And it's just like, none of them are going to cheer. It's going to be like the Saudi shows that are like eerily quiet because it's just a bunch of, like super rich people who don't actually care. This is a thing to do, not a fandom that they possess. So the event will suck in that regard, but it won't matter because it'll be the biggest goddamn spectacle in the whole history of the world.
True that. Well, before that can happen, the UFC has to head to Music City, USA, Nashville, Tennessee. We'll have a preview show for that. We have the big trilogy matchup between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. We get boots on the ground for that event. We got multiple boots on the ground. Casey is there. Jose is there. So lots of coverage on that tomorrow night from the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. Like I said, we'll have Nashville on Saturday. And then we fast forward our way into next week. We'll have a regular BTL next week. I don't think Casey's traveling at all. We'll get two people on here. We'll have them battle it out. We'll do the damn thing. It's just, look, it's not easy to like produce the show and host it at the same time. It's very difficult, especially if we're doing a one-on-one matchup. I paid that price when Shaheen came back and my internet went. I just don't want to, risk that ever again.
Did I tell you not this past time, the time before when I went on Submission Radio, Dennis's internet cut out, like his computer like died. And so there's a 15-minute chunk of Submission Radio that is just functionally me and Jimmy Smith hosting ourselves.
That is very funny.
Just like he just kept off and I didn't even know if it was still good, but the stream stayed up. So it was just me and Jimmy Smith be like, I've been around a lot. Jimmy obviously has a ton of experience in broadcasting. He's like, all right, it looks like Dennis is gone. So Jed, what do you think about this? And we just shot the shit for like 12 minutes while he tried to get back on.
Just a professional job by a professional broadcaster.
It was unbelievable. We just took a show.
Just stole the show.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Shout out to Dennis. Shout out to Jimmy Smith. And shout out to all of you guys. To get you ready for UFC 318 and
man, your audio went crazy right there.
Wow.
Didn't hear a single thing you said until wow.
It's because the damn music was so loud apparently. But all right, stick with us at MMAfighting.com. For Jed, I am Mike Heck. Bye everybody. God damn it.
Love y'all. It just sounded like you were talking underwater. Love everybody. Bye.